Hi everyone, I'm Ximena Del Pino, and today I'm going to be discussing about Lawrence Kohlberg's theory on moral development and how people develop their understanding of right and wrong in different situations. But before explaining the theory, I want to start with a personal situation that made me think about morality in my everyday life. There was one time that my boyfriend went to dinner with some of his coworkers after work, but during the night, he accidentally left his wallet in one of the bathrooms stalls, right? He didn't realize until a few hours later he was having a couple of drinks, but when he noticed, when he was about to pay his bill, he went back to the bathroom and luckily he found the wallet, but unfortunately there was no money inside the wallet anymore. He was so upset, but what bothered him the most was not only losing the money, he was more upset about the fact that someone found the wallet and had the opportunity to do the right thing but chose not to. He kept saying to himself, where's the honesty? Is people not good anymore? Because he personally will never take something that belonged to someone else. And that's fair. This situation made me think about something really important. Why do people make the choices that they make? Why is the reasoning behind it? Right? What's the reasoning behind it? The person who found the wallet did return it, which was a good action, right? However, they also decided to keep something that was not theirs, and that was the bad action. So, what was the reasoning behind that decision? Was the person thinking about personal benefit? Were they thinking about honesty and fairness? This is exactly the type of question that Lawrence Kohlberg studied. And Kohlberg believed morality isn't only about what people do, but also the reason why they do it. But who was Lawrence Kohlberg? Now I'm going to present it to you. Lawrence Kohlberg was a psychologist at Harper University who studied moral reasoning. His work expanded on Jean Piaget's research about cognitive development. Pretty interesting. According to Kohlberg, people develop their moral reasoning through 6 stages, organized into 3 levels each. We have pre-conventional morality, conventional, and post-conventional. His research focused on moral dilemmas because he wanted to understand the reasoning behind the people's choices. I'm going to give you an example. 2 people may both believe stealing is wrong, but only one person may think it is wrong because they could be punished, like there's a consequence behind it, while another one believes it is wrong because it violates another person's or people's right. Hey, you shouldn't be stealing because that is on your property. You shouldn't be stealing because there's a consequence and you might be going to jail. Pretty standard. The decision is the same, but the reasoning is quite different, right? Level 1, we're going to go to pre-conventional morality. And that is why? Because people mainly focus on themselves and consequences of their action. And in this stage, we're going to find the obedience and the punishment. The first stage, it is basically avoiding punishment. But the question that many people ask is, will I get in trouble? For example, a child may avoid stealing because they are afraid of being punished. There's a consequence. But they are not necessarily thinking about the ethical impact yet. They are thinking about the consequences. Adults can sometimes reason this way too, such as following a rule only because they fear of getting caught. Right? Stage 2, individualism and self-interest. And this talks about and focuses on the personal benefit. What's in it for me? How is it benefiting me? What am I gaining from this? And people begin recognizing that others have needs, but their decisions are still influenced by what they can gain, right? I'm going to give you another example. Someone might volunteer because they want experience for their resume or because they need hours for a requirement in a different field, right? We're in college, we need those hours. And it could be like a win-win situation in most of the cases. But I'm going to go back to the wallet example of my boyfriend. Someone reasoning mostly at this stage may think about the benefit of keeping the money instead of thinking about the owner's feelings. Is this someone's paycheck? Is this someone's rent money? Am I hurting the person because I'm intentionally stealing without them knowing until way later on? We're gonna think about those questions pretty often when it comes to this topic. Level 2, conventional morality. At this level, people begin focusing more on relationships, social expectation, rules, XYZ. Buzz explains that many teenagers or young adults often reason with these stages because approval from others and social expectations become important. I want to fit in. I want to be in, my friend's social circle. I want to be important too. I want to be recognized. And that reminds me of the Maslow's hierarchy, the physiological needs, right? Stage 3, good interpersonal relationships. Stage 3 focuses mostly on being viewed as a good person. What is the other person thinking about me? Am I kind enough? Am I good enough? Am I respectful enough? Because we care about relationship and how others perceive us, right? Another example, someone may tell the truth because they do not want to disappoint their family or lose someone's trust. Who has done that? Me. I am a people pleaser by heart. And every time that I feel that I am not up to their expectations, I feel horrible. And that motivation comes from maintaining positive relationships. I want to be always keeping the harmony between the person that I care about and me, of course. Stage 4, maintaining social order, because this stage mainly focuses on laws, rules, responsibilities, and all those principles, right? Because people tend to believe the rules are important just because they help society function. And who wouldn't think otherwise, right? I'm going to give you another example. Healthcare professionals follow policies because those policies protect patients like HIPAA and create standards of care. We have to be ethical and we have to be professionals when it comes to healthcare and in any other field, but mostly we have to provide an excellent care because we care for those the ones that need us, especially in those fields. However, Kohlberg believed moral reasoning could continue beyond simply following rules. Pretty standard. Level 3, post-conventional morality. The final level is post-conventional morality because people begin questioning whether rules and laws are actually fair. Hey, is this law benefiting us? Is this law okay? How is this law, affecting us? Is it benefiting us? Is it harming us? Because they understand that something being legal does not automatically mean it is moral, right? Stage 5, social contract. Stage 5 focuses on rights, fairness, and social responsibility. Because we tend to recognize that laws are important, but we also understand that laws can sometimes be unjust. Pretty similar to the previous one, right? I'm going to give you another historical example that happened really many years ago, and it was a pretty big deal. Segregation, right? At one point, segregation was absolutely legal, but many people challenged those laws because they believed they violated human rights. Just because it's legal doesn't mean that it's right? If it's affecting us and if it's harming us, we have democracy and we can stand up and fight for those human rights. But we tend to ask, does this rule protect people or does it create injustice? Stage 6, universal ethical principles. And this is the final stage. Because people make decisions based on values such as justice, equality, compassion, and our dignity, human dignity. They tend to follow their principles even when doing so could be challenging or difficult. Kohlberg believed only a small number of people consistently reach this stage. Now we're going to apply the Kohlberg's theory, but how we're going to apply it? The textbook provides us different examples that can help us understand these different stages a little bit better. I'm going to give you one example. It's involving Carlos, who sees someone carrying an assault rifle toward a classroom. While Carlos has a handgun, even though firearms are not allowed on campus. Someone in stage 1 might think about avoiding punishment. Someone in stage 2 may focus on how the decision affects Carlos personally. Someone in stage 4 may focus on following campus rules. Someone in stage 5 or maybe 6 may focus on protecting innocent lives and questioning whether a rule should be prioritized during an emergency. The second example involves Jennifer, a college student considering buying an essay online. At lower stages, someone may focus on whether she will get caught or whether cheating helps her succeed. At higher stages, someone considers honesty, fairness towards classmates, and academic integrity. Of course, if she's cheating, we're gonna think about all those principles. Personally, I believe submitting a purchase essay will be totally wrong, and totally unethical, because integrity matters even when nobody's watching. Like, you're thinking in your little head that you are buying this just to get a better grade, but you know deep down in your soul that what you're doing is wrong. Research and criticism. Kohlberg's theory has been studied and debated for decades. Oh my God, many years. Research by Colby, Kohlberg, Gibbs, and Lieberman from 1983 followed participants over time and supported the idea that moral reasoning can develop as people mature. Of course, the older we get, the wiser we get? Probably. However, researchers have also questioned whether everyone develops in exactly the same way. Probably not. One important criticism came from psychologist Gilligan, and this comes from 1982, and she argued that Kohlberg focused heavily on justice, rules, human rights, but it didn't really give enough attention to empathy, emotions, relationships, and caring for other people. I believe that this criticism is more important because morality involves both principles and people. We have to be empathetic, we have to think about the rest of the society, but we have to think about those principles as well. So we have to be critical thinking, but emotionally thinking as well. Sometimes we have to ask what is fair, but we also have to ask how will this affect others? How is it going to affect my friend, my mom, my dad, my boyfriend, my grandma, my classmate, my teacher? And this is a personal reflection of mine. After learning about Kohlberg's theory, I think my moral reasoning is closest to stage 5, which is the social contract stage. Because rules and policies are very important due to the fact that they create safety and structure. We need that foundation. However, I also believe we need to think critically about whether those rules are actually protecting people, right? If we protect the people, we protect the world, in a way. This connects strongly with my future career in healthcare. I want to become a physician assistant, of course. Healthcare is not only about following procedures, it is also about compassion, empathy, honesty, responsibility, and understanding the needs of the individual patients, my future patients. The water situation is a simple example, but it represents a larger idea. Doing the right thing should not depend only on whether someone is watching. True integrity comes from making ethical choices even when there is no reward, of course. In conclusion, Kohlberg's theory of moral development explains how people's moral reasoning develops from focusing on punishment and personal benefit to thinking about injustice, human rights, and ethical principles. Although researchers have criticize parts of Kohlberg's theory, it remains important because it encourages so much us to think deeper about our choices. And the biggest lesson I take from this theory is that morality is not only about knowing what is right or wrong. Please. It is understanding the reasons behind our decisions. The reasons why are we doing the stuff that we do. And that's it for all, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Bye.